Bernie Sanders killed it in New Hampshire. Overwhelmingly, Democratic voters chose a man who calls himself a democratic socialist. Voters want that? I think they don't know what socialism means. Bernie says it means all kinds of good things like fairness, equality, kindness. His supporters say democratic socialism is what countries like Denmark have. And people there have comfortable lives without ruthless capitalism and competition. Boy, I'm starting to talk myself into this. But thinking this way is dumb. I liked what Regina Carson posted on my Facebook page. Socialism sounds so nice, being social. People don't understand it really means for the good of the group over the individual. Still, lots of Americans say, that would be good. Let's take care of the group, not just selfish, rich individuals. That's what Democracy for America, a million-member progressive group founded by Howard Dean, believes. They've endorsed Bernie Sanders, the first time they made a presidential endorsement ever. Neil Sroka speaks for the group. So you must be happy.
There's a lot to be excited about. You know, when someone who is aggressively speaking up for the fact that we all do better when we all do better to win in such a big way, I think that's a good thing for Democrats, and I think that's a good thing for the country.
Now, socialism generally means the government owns the means of production. Do you want that?
Well, I think there is some antiquated views about what socialism is. I don't think anyone's calling for, state ownership of the gas station down the street. But what we are saying is that the current system that we have right now isn't working. When over 40 million Americans are still living in poverty, at the same time that, a millionaire and billionaire class is trying to essentially own all political discourse in this country, that's problematic. And that's what we have to work together to dismantle.
All right, well, let's take them one at a time. Own political discourse. You're referring to Citizens United allowing these companies, rich people to spend a lot of money on political campaigns?
It's more than that. It's Citizens United, but it's also about the way in which wealthy and powerful interests control Congress. The real challenge in this country is how do we make sure that corporations aren't the only ones writing the laws the way they are right now, and that real people, the people that elect representatives, actually get a say in their government.
I didn't see the corporations winning exactly when they backed Romney or Hillary in the last election or Jeb Bush this election. All this money and spending on ads doesn't seem to buy the country.
There are going to be times that they win and they lose, but at the end of, in terms of elections, but at the end of the day, when you're helping write the laws, when you're helping determine what goes on in Washington, it's hard for little people to win.
The unions and big government, that's not influential. They aren't writing the laws and manipulating the rules to suit them?
Here's the big difference between corporations and unions. Unions are a collection of working people coming together to themselves enact change. And they don't have a profit motive. But there's a distinct profit motive for corporations that unions just don't have.
They're not looking,
when you're
don't
fighting
pay the
to make sure that you have a safe workplace.
$600,000?
Listen, if we want to have reform of compensation across, corporations and unions, let's do it. Let's make sure that nobody is making an unfair, undue profit off of everyone else's work. And I think that's what Bernie Sanders is trying to bring to this presidential campaign.
You want to fix the big wealth disparity, and there is one. And socialism professes to do that. But how'd that work in the Soviet Union or Cuba or now in Venezuela? How come it never works? How come it leaves everybody poor?
There's a lot of countries, Nordic countries that have the kind of democratic socialist worldview that works today and is working
like
quite
what?
well for working people.
When you say Nordic countries, what do you mean?
I'm talking Sweden, Norway. I think it would be a great place to be a middle-class person. And I want to build a country that in the United States that it's a great place to be a middle-class working person.
In Europe, youth unemployment is 20%, double what it is in America. What have they invented in Norway or Denmark? I mean, since Sweden came up with Nokia or Volvo before that, what innovation has come out of Europe? This is a stagnant place. It was rich. Socialism has made them complacent and poor.
I don't think we have to have this kind of false choice between innovation and a country that works for working people. If we had some sort of system where we can ensure that government and business works for working people, it's going to look different than it looks like in the rest of the world. But, creating this kind of false choice isn't helpful when we know that the system we have right now isn't working for most people, except those at the very tippy top. And
I think it's a real
we've
choice,
got to
and
have
your
real
system
systemic
is
change.
worse. But let's go to social media. I asked my social media followers for their thoughts on socialism. On Facebook, Martin Dean posted, capitalism accomplishes all the goals socialism tries to achieve and does it without theft or use of force. On Google+, Jason Hum added, capitalism is about choice. Socialism is about force. Now, that's true. Government is force. You may hate these big companies, but you don't have to buy their stuff. You have a choice.
The reason why I would love to have a single-payer healthcare system is that if something goes wrong in that healthcare system, if I don't get access to the care I need to survive, I can actually go after the politicians that are enacting that policy. I can actually vote them out of office. I don't have that sort of choice when it comes to taking down a health insurance industry that actively colludes with one another to, prior to Obamacare, prevent me from even getting access to health care.
Government, you have one vote in Vermont. Your vote won't even count in the presidential election because we know they'll vote Democratic. Among private health insurance companies, you have a choice. If you don't like your company, you can go to another company. You can vote with your dollars.
Well, you can vote with your dollars if they'll take your money when you want to buy health insurance. That was the big problem that we had prior to Obamacare, and so many of these people that are talking about eliminating Obamacare for some sort of free market system seem to forget that the real challenge many people had was health insurance companies wouldn't even cover them, that they were cherry-picking the healthy people versus the sick people.
Well, that's what insurance is.
If we could all work together.
It tries to make a profit, and the really sick people may need to be taken care of by government. But it's still competition and better than socialism. We're out of time, Neil, but thank you for arguing your point.